welcome to today's video. If you're new here, hi, my name is Luna and welcome to Luna's Bookshelf. So, in today's video we're going to talk about the new year, 2025, and I'm going to specifically talk about the books I want to read in 2025. I'm going to talk about the 25 books I want to read in 2025. Last year in my book journal I made a spread of the 12 books I want to read in 2024 because I thought 24 books is a lot. I want to read 30 books, so that's almost all of the books I want to read. But I already read almost 70 books this year. So I thought, you know what, we're going to try for the 25 books I hope and hopefully read in the next year. So that's what we're going to do today, and I'm going to take you guys along in the books I hopefully will be able to read in the next year. I've got some physical books next to me, and then on my computer screen I've got some books that aren't released yet. Some, I think there are only 2, and other books that I don't have the physical copy of. So yeah, I would say, yeah, let's get into it. So I'm going to just go in order that my books are laid here. So we're going to first, these are some literary fiction books I'm going to talk about. There are 4 literary fiction books, so let's get into it. The first book I hopefully want to read is a book I also have been sitting on my shelf for like, I think 3-4 years now. So it is time, and I'm really interested and I really want to explore this genre more in the next year. And that is Henet by Maggie O'Farrell. I've heard so many great things about this book. I already own another book of this author, but I haven't even read this book yet. But I really want to start with this book. This is a retelling of Hamlet of Shakespeare, and I did start it, but I only got, like, I read 2 pages and that's it. But I really want to read this in the next year. I think it's a really interesting book. It also was the winner of the Woman Prize for Fiction in 2020. So yeah, really excited, and I really hope to read this next year. I'm probably going to say really a lot, so I'm already sorry for that. I don't know why, but it's like my stop word or something. Then the next book is also more of a literary fiction. I don't know what this is called, the genre, but I started this a while ago. I think last year. But I started this over summer and I was just not really feeling the vibe because it's totally not a summer book. So I DNF'd it, but I soft DNF'd it because I did like it, but I was just not in the mood for it at the time. So I was like, you know, this is not the right time. It could be a good book, but it's not going to get its potential if I keep reading this. And that is If You Were Villains by Emma Rio. This is a very popular book. I think a lot of people already read this book, but I haven't. It is also something to do with Shakespeare, so we have a theme here already going on. No, but this is the thing I know about it is because I read about 122 pages, but it's a long time ago, so I have to start over. But it's about this class in, I don't know what year, it doesn't say it, but it's a class and there's one person dead and he's killed, and there's one guy who is Oliver and he just served 10 years for a murder he may or may not have committed. And when he is released, he's greeted by the detective who put him in prison, and he's now going to tell what really happened on the day of the murder. So I think that's really interesting, and I hopefully will read it. I think this is more kind of a book maybe to read in the next season, the next month, January, February, or maybe more for the fall. Then another book. I read one book by this author. It was good, but it was not great. But I have this, and I bought this before that book, and I heard very good things about this, so I have high hopes. And that is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Seven. This is, I think, a young adult book. I'm not sure, but I think it is a young adult book. And it is, I don't know much about it. So it's about, this is a story of Sam and Sadie. It's not a romance, but it's about love. When Sam catches sight of Sadie at a crowded train station, one winter morning he is catapulted back to the brief time they spent playing together as children. Their unique spark is instantly reignited. So it is quite a thick book, but it's also classified, I think, as a literary fiction, and it was on my 2024 books I wanted to read and 12 books I wanted to read in 2024, but I haven't. So you know what? Another year, another try. And then the last, more literary fiction, historical fiction, is a book you saw in a previous video of me when I was talking about the books I hopefully will read before the end of the year. spoiler alert. I just know I'm not going to read it before the end of the year, since already it's currently the 19th of December and I just know I'm not going to read it before the 1st of January. But I hopefully will read it in the next year. And that is Carrie Soda's Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I really wanted to read this for a very long time, and then I bought it this year with my birthday, but I haven't gotten to it. I think I'm going to keep it for the summer because I don't know why, but it kind of gives me summer vibes. It doesn't like really take place in the summer, but it just gives me summer vibes. But I hopefully will read this in the next year in the summertime. Then now we're going to the more fantasy genre, but first it's like more sci-fi, and this is a book I saw and I purely bought because of Haley Pham, because she really loved this series, and that is Redesigned by Pierce Brown. So this is a sci-fi book, I think. It's an adult sci-fi book. It's originally a trilogy, I think, but I'm not sure anymore. But yeah, I heard a lot of good things about it, but I also heard some less good things about it. But I really want to give it a try. It's a new genre, and I'm always open to try new genres. So yeah, I hopefully will find a new series I will be obsessed with, as I was this year with Throne of Glass. So you know what? I want to give it a try. It is a new series I'm committing to, even though I'm already reading a couple of other series, but that's okay. That's okay. So yeah. And then another series, starting another series. And a lot of people have read it. I haven't read it, and I'm sorry. I'm late to the game, but maybe 2025 is the year I finally read this series. And that is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. As I just said, I read Throne of Glass this year, and I really love that series. It's one of my favorite series I read this year. And I just think I really need to read A Court of Thorns and Roses in the Metaverse. So hopefully this will be the year. It was also originally on my 12 books to read in 2024, but then I started Throne of Glass and I was not ready to commit to another series by her that is also pretty long. So you know what, so I was like, we're going to keep it for the next year. So hopefully 2025 is finally the year I read this book. Then we got some romance books, because why don't we love romance books? This one is also a book I thought I would be able to read in this year, but I know I'm not going to. I'm still reading 2 books, and I just think I'm going to keep it to do those 2 books. Maybe I'll read another book, but I don't think it's going to be this one. Maybe, you never know, but I don't think it will be. And that is The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. I just think this will be a good book. I read The 7 Years Still by her, and I really loved it. So hopefully we'll read this next year. And then to continue a series I'm reading, and that is the Lakefront Billionaire series by Lauren Asher, and that is Love Unwritten. So this comes after Love Redesigned. I really loved the book. It was a 5-star read for me. So I just have to read this book, and also in 2025 there is a new book coming out in the series, Love Arranged. So I obviously want to read that too, but I first want to read this book. And this is about Raphael, I think, yes. Raphael and Ellie, and it is a single dad nanny. So I have heard some good things about it, but also bad things, because it's a pretty long book. But I love Redesigned. It's also a big book, and I wanted to never stop. So yeah, really excited for this. Then I was kind of in my thriller era. This last couple of days I read like 2 Frida McFadden books. You will see my wrap up if I make one. I'm not sure if I'm going to make a December wrap up. Maybe I will. But you know what? I want to continue that in 2025 to read more thrillers. And to do that, I put None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell on it. I bought it this year. Haven't read it. I heard a lot of good things about it, and that's the reason why I bought it, but I still haven't read it yet. So you know what? 2025 is the season for reading it. I don't know yet when. I don't know when it takes place or something, but I heard some good things about this book. It's also like with a podcast, and I read a podcast thriller comedy book this year, and I really liked it. So really interested. And then we got 2 more books I have physically, and these are 2 young adult books, so I wanted to keep them at last. I think tomorrow's also a young adult, but I was not sure when putting the books in order. But that's okay. Mistakes can be made. But the first book I want to read, I also said I was going to read this before the end of the year. I hope to read it before the end of the year, but I'm not going to probably. And that is Betting on You by Lynn Painter. This is the only Lynn Painter book I have left, and I just want to read it. It's been sitting on my shelf waiting to be read. So you know what? I was like, this year, the next year is going to be the year I'm going to read it. So yeah, I heard some mixed reviews about this, so I'm a little bit scared going into it, but I want to give it a try. And then the last book is also a continuation of a series I started this year, and hopefully I will finish it the next year. No, I don't think I will finish it in 2025 because there are coming other books. But you know, we'll see. And that is These Infinite Threads by Tara Maffei. This is the sequel to This Woven Kingdom. I recently read this. I bought these books at the same time. Didn't read it for a long time, and I finally read This Woven Kingdom. But I wasn't feeling the vibe to read it back to back. So I just, you know what, it's going to be a book for the next year. But I really love this cover of it. I really much prefer this cover over This Woven Kingdom because this one's more shiny than the other. But yeah, hopefully you will read this soon. So as you can see, I've got quite a lot of books on my physical TBR because yeah, that's one of my goals. But I'm going to talk about my goals of 2025, reading goals, reading things in another video, so subscribe if you want to see that video. But yeah, now I'm going to take my computer real quickly and I'm going to talk about the books I want to read, but I don't have them yet physically, or they haven't come out yet. So yeah, we're going to start with one of my favorite authors who is releasing a book in February. I already talked about this book in my previous video when I talked about book releases in 2025. And the first book is Deep End by Ellie Hazelwood. This is a romance, this is an adult romance. It's about swimmers. I don't know much about it, but I love the cover. I'm obsessed. I mean, I have this shelf here, you can see it, but I have a shelf here dedicated to Ellie Hazelwood and Emily Henry because they're my favorite authors of all time, and I will buy anything they both will write as long as I live. So yeah, that is the first book. I already have it pre-ordered too. Then of course, talking about the queen herself, Emily Henry, I have Great Big Beautiful Life. I'm so excited. I'm currently reading Happy Place, as I said previously, and you may know from following me on Instagram or on Goodreads. And I just can't wait for another Emily Henry book. I sadly have to wait until April, so I'm pretty sad about that, but it's okay. Then another book, a lot of people told me, Luna, read this book because it's just so good, and that is Babel by Araf Kwang. This is a fantasy book. I think it's historical fantasy even, so that's what kind of scared me off for a long time to read this, and it's also a pretty big book. But I was like, you know what, maybe, no, not maybe, I am going to read it in the next year. I will. Because I'm really interested and intrigued by it, so yeah. Then another book by an author I discovered this year, and that is Sounds Like Love by Ashley Boston. I also talked about it in the previous video. This is a new release coming out this year, 2025. Then I really want to try the Chestnut Spring series by Elsie Silver, so I put Flawless on my list, on my TBR. I heard so many great things about it, and I really want to read the Chestnut Spring series before I start the Rose Hill series, because it's like, maybe, I thought it was like interconnected, but I'm not sure. But I really want to try it, because it's like cowboy romance, and I read my first cowboy romance this year because I got an arc of it. So I think I would like it. That's why I put it on. And then I've got the Season Trials, or the Seizoensproeven by Jasmine van der Meers and Jonas de Bakker. This is by two booktubers. I follow them both on TikTok, and this year they wrote a book and they released it, and I want to read it in Dutch because it's my native language, and I really want to read more Dutch books. So, but they also have a translated version of it. If you want, you can. It's called The Season Trials. I'm really excited. There is another book coming, I think, but I really want to read it in the next year. Then another series. But you know what? The reason I put this on here is because I'm really hoping to get this series maybe for a birthday or for Christmas, and that is a Harry Potter series. I'm like 21 years old. I've never read the Harry Potter series, but I've watched the movies. But I just need to read these books, you know. My boyfriend has Dutch versions, but I just want to read English versions. I'm sorry, I just want to read it in the languages written in. But yeah, hopefully there are another lot of books, but that's okay. If I just read one book, if I just get to it, I will be very happy. And maybe let me know if I will read this, the Harry Potter series, would you like a video of me reading these? Because I saw Destiny said will do it, and I think it would be very fun to do that too. Then a new author I discovered this year and I really loved, and that is Katheryn Center, and I really want to read The Nightingale by her the next year because it's a historical fiction, and as I said before, I really want to expand my genres, the genres I normally read. I did that this year too with reading more fantasies, and I want to do that too next year with more like literary fiction, historical fiction. And I just loved Firefly Lane, so I really want to give this a try too. And then I got another fantasy, another series. The next book is also coming out in 2025, I think, and that is The Heartless Hunter by Kristen. I don't know how to pronounce her name, so I'm not going to, but it will be in the screen, obviously, because I will put the cover in the screen. But yeah, I really love the cover of this too. I think there are two versions of this. I think you have like The Heartless Hunter, but I think it's also called Crimson Moth, but I'm not sure. But I think that book. But I heard really great things about it. It's like about a witch who's, I don't know, I think it's about a witch, that's the only thing I know, but I'm really interested in it. And then, and also a new favorite author I discovered this year, and that is Katheryn Center, and I put the rom-coms on it because I heard good things about it, and I'm just really interested in it, and I really love the cover. I love all of the covers of Katheryn Center. I also really want to read her new release, but I didn't put it on because I already have on my list of my releases I look forward to, and I have already 3 other releases, but never mind, that doesn't really matter. Then I have also continuing a series, and that is The Ashes and the Star-Cursed Kingdom from Carissa Broadbent. I read The Serpent and the Wings of the Night. I always mess up that when I'm giving the title. So I read it, I really liked it, so I want to read the next book, obviously. There is a novella in between, I think. I don't know how it is, but you know, I will see. But I don't want to buy it, I think, because it's pretty expensive for how many pages it is. So yeah. Then we have the 24th book, and that is Fantasma by Kelly Smith. I also said I wanted to read this before the end of the year, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to start another series. I just don't want to start another series this year because it just feels wrong, you know? But I want to start it next year. So hope to read that because I heard so many great things about this. There is also next book. The next book is coming out, I think, also in 2025. So that would be very great if I get to read them maybe back to back. So yeah. And then the last book I have on here is also continuing a series. It is, I put this book specifically on it because the 3rd book is coming out next year, but I wanted to wait to read this book before the next book comes out. No, and that is Reckless by Lauren Roberts. I read Powerless and Powerful, and then you have Reckless and Fearless? No, Fearless? Fearless? I think, yeah, it's Fearless. But I wanted to wait to read that book because I heard not many great things about Reckless, so I was like, you know what, I'm going to wait to read Reckless, so when I'm done with that, I can immediately go into Fearless. So yeah, that was it. That were all the books I hopefully will read in the next year. There are quite a lot. There are quite a lot of diverse genres. We've got fantasy, we've got literary fiction, we've got thrillers, we've got sci-fi. So yeah, I'm very excited. I'm really excited for next year and a new reading journey. So yeah, let me know in the comments what your top 5 reads are you want to read in the next year, and maybe you can get some inspiration from other books too you haven't read yet, or you have read them and you can say we definitely read it. If you have read any of these books I just talked about, let me know in the comments which I should definitely read this year, because let's be honest, I'm not going to be able, no, we're not going to say it already. I hopefully read all of these books in 2025. We are going to read all of these books in 2025. That would be amazing. So yeah, that was it for today's video. I hope you liked it and I'll see you next time. Bye!